So St. Paul has some pretty bold words today. Brothers and sisters, what will separate us from the love of Christ? Definitely not anguish or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril of the sword. At least that would be ideal. I think Paul might have been in a different place than at least some of us here in this room, because he had already gone through any number of trials. If you think of the list that he says about, I was shipwrecked, I was stoned to death, all of this stuff happened. And the power of Christ still reigned in him. But for us, I think maybe even lesser things than this list that Paul's given us have dared to separate us from the love of Christ. Different anxieties, different difficulties that rise up in life. It's very easy to get caught up on any number of things or distractions and then to forget what we're truly about. The Lord promises us such beautiful things. Think about in the first reading, all you who are thirsty, come to the waters. You who have no money, receive grain and eat. Think of Jesus in the gospel today, who's feeding the 5,000 with 5 loaves and 2 fish that were more than they could eat. We've got a lot of scriptures that talk about the bounty of God and how much He wants to give. And yet, how quickly it is for our hearts to turn to whatever else that might be in the world. When I'm wrought with anxiety, where do I turn? Do I turn for whatever the thing is that I think is going to fill me up, or do I turn to the Lord? Don't answer that question. It's not easy living the Christian life. Sometimes it's not even easy to believe that Christ actually wants to give us all these good things. But at the same time, you're here, so you must believe that on some level. There must be a reason you're showing up to this table where you're going to hear the same words that He took bread, broke it, and gave it. Because I hope every one of us realizes that at the depths, even though we keep reaching out for all of these other things, that they'll never fill us. We're always going to be lacking. There's always going to be more that we want or need. Because we always get hungry again. We always get thirsty. We're always fraught with some other anxiety or difficulty we have to deal with. That's why it's so desperately important that we keep praying, brothers and sisters. That's why whenever we face the anxieties of life, we have to take them to prayer. Even though it feels like it might be doing nothing, because the Lord still wants to work in our hearts. He wants to show us that He really can be the source of everything. That maybe even the things we're anxious about, we don't really have to be anxious about. Maybe there are things that the Lord is calling us to let go of. So friends who come here hungry and thirsty, remember that the Lord is trying to feed you. Keep coming back to personal prayer and to liturgical prayer like the Mass. Because He will satisfy. Maybe not in the way you expected or wanted or thought you wanted, but He will do it. We have hope in that there's something bigger yet to come.